And welcome back to Here's the Thing. I'm your host. My name's Scott Leffler. Joining me for the next hour or so is a co-host of sorts, Andrew McGrath. We just listened to Start Again by Grosh's new album by the same name, and a fun song by Fun Button called Time Stop. Now, in my notes, it says Time Stop 040106, which is April 1st of 2006, which is actually the date that All West New York Radio started. So I don't know if that's like a subtitle or what. I'm just going through old tracks that are in our library. And actually, all 6 of today's tracks are songs that are not currently airing on All West New York, but hopefully by the end of the week I'll get them uploaded to the server with all the correct information, and we'll get that rolling. I got about half of our music that is not currently playing. So we have, like 86 hours of music, and I've got like 86 more hours to do. So it is a long, time-intensive process. Joining us, of course, as always, Drew McGrath, and I mentioned earlier, it's just me and Drew today. My week has been kind of crazy, and I didn't have a chance to get any other guests, but that's okay, because Drew and I can literally talk about anything. Drew, dude, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
Seems like that, even though it was last week, it's like...
Yeah, I don't know. This summer I've been so busy doing other things, mowing the lawn and, taking care of things at the house, and I just haven't been around much on weekends. I really feel like we just haven't seen each other much this year. Fortunately, football season's coming around, and I'll be around a lot more on the weekends. We'll go watch games and all that fun stuff.
Right, yeah. It's like, basically now, like, we really just see each other doing this.
Yeah.
That's about it.
How you been? What's going on?
All right, just the same old, doing what I'm doing,
Did you get that rash cleared up?
Oh, wow. No, what rash? What?
Dude, $20 an hour sounds like a great deal until you got to go to the doctors and, get that shot.
Wow. Okay. I don't know how to respond to this.
Shots fired. That was a joke, folks. If you didn't get it, that was a joke. So Drew and I are going to talk some sports. We're going to talk some non-sports as well. Drew, I just saw this thing, actually, just before the show, and I want to share it with you because it made me laugh. So this is a Facebook post.
Okay.
And a Facebook friend of mine had shared it, and made me laugh because I was like, there's no way that's real. But the fact that they shared it indicates to me that they thought it was real. Now, this is a post by the End Times News.
So is this an actual news outlet?
Sure.
Okay. One of those?
Yeah. And this was posted yesterday. Let me read this to you. Shocking scene. Niagara Falls turns blood red for 10 minutes, stuns visitors. June 22nd, 2025, Niagara Falls, USA/Canada. In a stunning and eerie turn of events, Niagara Falls appeared to run red like blood for approximately 10 minutes early Sunday morning, leaving tourists and locals in shock. At approximately 5:36 a.m., visitors reported seeing the iconic Horseshoe Falls change from its usual clear cascade, it's never clear, by the way, to a deep crimson color, and the water and mist both reflecting an intense blood-red hue. Now, there's a photo I'll show you in a minute. And I'll share this link with everyone in the show notes so that you can see this and see, honestly, just how ridiculous it is. The bizarre phenomenon lasted for exactly 10 minutes before the water gradually returned to its normal state. It looked like a scene from a horror movie, said Elena Torres, a tourist from Mexico, who captured the moment on video. The whole river was red, and people around me started screaming and recording. It was surreal, like the falls were bleeding. Environmental experts noted that while certain water-safe dyes are sometimes used for scientific research, there was no scheduled studies in the area this morning. Unconfirmed reports. Several online users have speculated it could be a publicity stunt or art installation gone wrong. Others referenced interpretations, especially as the event occurred under dark, overcast skies. By 6 a.m., cleanup crews and drone surveillance had been deployed, and no signs of long-term water pollution have been detected so far. Officials have urged the public to stay calm and await full lab results. We've never seen anything like this in our lifetimes, said Dr. Rebecca Thompson, a hydrologist expert. The sheer scale of the color change and the timing raises many questions we don't yet have answers to. The investigation continues. Now, Drew, here is a photo of this so-called Red Falls. Now, for those of you who don't know, for those of you listening outside the area, Like 90 million gallons of water goes over the falls every minute, or something stupid like that. The amount of dye you would have to dye the Niagara Falls red, especially as seen in this photo, is just immense. You would have to have more red dye than you could possibly transport. Now, Drew is looking at this picture, and he's got questions. Drew, where in that photo is the American Falls?
Good question.
There is no American Falls in this photo, and it should be there. And the observation tower,
it's on the wrong side.
This photo is clearly AI.
Also, okay, so this doesn't look like blood red. It kind of looks like, from the picture I'm looking at, like somebody dumped a bunch of Kool-Aid or Jell-O packets into. But
do you have any idea how much Kool-Aid or just
right? It looks so artificially colored.
You would have to have scores and scores and scores of truckloads of Kool-Aid packets, to make a dent in the color of the falls, which is, by the way, green. It's never clear.
Right. That's what I'm saying, though. It looks that color. Yeah.
But the photo is clearly AI. The thing that makes me laugh, though, is if you scroll through the comments, and again, I'll share this on the show notes so that you guys can have a look at this and laugh at it yourself. If you look in the comments, the number of people that are defending the story as though it were real. There's several people on there saying, I'm from Niagara Falls or I'm from Buffalo, and if this had happened, it would have been in the news. And I assure you, if this had happened, it would have been on all Western New York news. It didn't happen. There's no way it could happen. And it's really laughable, but to me, the most laughable part is the people that are like, were you there at 5:36 a.m.?
Okay, well, actually, this comment to me just makes it even worse, okay? February 15th, 2025, they were lit in red and white to mark the 60th anniversary of the Canadian Flag Day. Now,
and the falls are lit at night.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes they're red, sometimes they're blue, sometimes they're red and blue.
Sometimes they're green or orange.
I tell people all the time, visitors to Niagara Falls, I say, go at night and then go again during the day. They're different experiences, and both are worth seeing. The falls at night is gorgeous, especially when it's, 90... Holy shit, Drew, it's 92 degrees outside. When it's 92 degrees, the falls is great. But when it's 92 degrees during the day, it drops into like the high 70s at night, and then you go by the falls with the mist, and it's so nice to just end the day with a nice, relaxing, cool. And the falls being lit is very cool, but this story is pure fiction, and it really just made me laugh. Not the story itself, because endtimes.com or whatever it is, this site is filled with similar stories. The fact that people are saying, were you there at that time? This really could have happened. I assure you, folks, it could not have happened. Another thing I see all the time, Drew, and you've probably seen stories about this, and actually on my Here's the Thing YouTube channel, I did a story about this once because there was all these reports of Niagara Falls being so cold that Niagara Falls froze over. Yeah. And now, maybe it's a matter of semantics, but frequently during the winter, the precipice of the falls does get a layer of, like, frozen mist. So there is ice, but the falls itself will not ever freeze over. It's just too much water going too fast. Unless we get, like, a day after tomorrow type thing.
We would have to have a tundra.
Yeah, we would have to have an ice age, like the
whole, like, basically all of North Pole would actually have to freeze over.
Yeah.
And have it spread all the way down.
And what I explain to people is, so you know how when you go on vacation in the winter, you leave your tap drip so that your pipes don't freeze?
Right.
So if that drip can prevent your pipe from freezing, imagine what 93 million gallons a minute would do. Your pipes would never freeze, I assure you. Living in Niagara Falls, it's a unique experience. I grew up here. Drew obviously grew up in the area. We both live here now, and it's cool. I was actually talking to a client of mine today earlier, and he's like, "It's really cool that you're in Niagara Falls." And I told him from our office here, and you've been here late at night. You can hear the falls if you're quiet. You can hear the water going over the falls. That's how close we are to Niagara Falls. So if Niagara Falls had turned red, I would have known it. And if it was at 5:36 in the morning, I still would have known it because it would have been everywhere. Yeah,
right.
well, yeah, there's that too. But it's just, I don't know. Crazy people will believe anything.
Right, and then somebody made a biblical comment about that, which was like, wow.
Well, you know, it is end of times. I mean,
but on for a website, for a lot of stuff that's being on Facebook now, it's like it's all a lot of it is fake.
Oh,
unless somebody actually posted it themselves that you actually know. Other than that, it's just a lot of fake news sources and sites, just to try to get clicks and
just to give you an idea of how reputable this news source is. Some of their other stories are: end of the world will happen June 25th, 2025. So that's tomorrow. Drew, the world is ending tomorrow.
Oh boy.
We don't got to pay our bills, and I think that we should go out and talk to that $20 stripper of yours. 8 end of world signs that will lead to the apocalypse of 2025. It's just, yeah. I'm not saying that this website's clickbait, but this website's clickbait. So, but people believe it. But people believe it. People believe anything. I don't. When you think about how stupid some people are, I do think that it's amazing that humanity as a whole has not yet died out.
It makes you really wonder though, like for all these numbers that come out of studies of like IQs of people in by nationality, by location, things like that. Where is this data coming from?
Right.
Like, it's like holy cow.
Drew, you've seen the movie Idiocracy?
No, I haven't.
You've never seen Idiocracy? Oh, so are you familiar with it?
No.
All right, so Idiocracy, phenomenal movie. Put it on your list. You got to watch it. So it stars, Owen Wilson's brother. What's his name?
Luke?
Yes, Luke Wilson. And he's your basic idiot. He's not stupid, but he's not smart either. Let me rephrase it. He is of average intelligence when the movie was made. And we'll say it was the year 2000. I don't know, but we'll say Idiocracy came out in the year 2000. He is of average intelligence.
Okay, so they're saying average intelligence now in 2025
has
an IQ of 85 to 115.
All right, so, and I'm sure that the average intelligence from 2000 to 2020, 25 is probably about the same, although I do feel like we're getting stupider by the day. But we'll say average intelligence today. So he signs up for this government program and has himself frozen. And he's supposed to be unfrozen in a year, I think, for like medical study.
Okay.
Well, they forget about him. And he gets unfrozen like 600 years from now. And when he wakes up, the world is just beyond stupid. And it goes to explain that basically like the smart people were like, we don't want to have kids. And the idiots were like, let's have 20. Which is kind of how things are, right? So he wakes up 600 years from now, and compared to them, he's a genius. Now, he is of average intelligence, but compared to them, he is an absolute genius. And they basically treat him as though he's an idiot because he's saying things that don't make any sense to anyone else. One problem that happens 600 years in the future is that the plants are dying. And they can't figure out why. Well, they're basically spraying Gatorade on the plants. Brondo is what Gatorade is called in the future. Brondo, it's got electrolytes. It's got what plants crave. That's the whole slogan. So they're instead of putting water on their plants, they're spraying them with Gatorade. And he's like, why don't we just use water? And they're like from the toilet? Are you stupid? So they just keep treating him like he's an idiot, but compared to them, he's a genius. Now, the president is Hector Camacho IV or something like that, and he's played by Terry Crews. Terry Crews' best role ever. Absolutely hilarious. He is like a WWE wrestler who became president, which in 2000 sounds ludicrous. Now it doesn't as much. We've made a lot of quote unquote progress in the last 25 years towards becoming Idiocracy. And people say all the time, like, Idiocracy was not supposed to be a documentary, but it is a phenomenal movie, one that you must watch.
Okay.
So
I'll keep that in mind.
The stupidity of people is boundless, and it gives me joy and horror in equal amounts.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. That was one of the things that I brought. I would prefer that we talk about sports on the other side of the break.
Okay.
We're going to talk for a bit, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll do sports when we come back from the music break. But non-sports things. What else is going on with you? Or what else is going on in the world? What do you want to talk about, Drew? Why did you come here?
I was held hostage, and yeah.
There are no bullets in that gun, and you know it.
We don't know that, but no, I don't know. Like, I really haven't been paying attention to like any news, like real news.
You're better. The first segment of the show was me talking about the news.
Right?
Honestly.
Yeah,
you're better off not paying attention.
Right. Also, like, because it's like, is this news? Like, is this not news? Like,
is this real life or just a fantasy?
Right.
Yeah.
But well, I know like today we have primary elections going on for like our local offices.
Local offices. I know the New York City mayoral race is a big one that nationwide people are keeping an eye on. And I am interested to see the results of that. But yeah, we do have some local elections today. I personally don't. It seems weird to me, and I don't. Maybe I have like selective amnesia. Elections in June just doesn't make sense. Elections are in November. Why are elections in June? I don't know. I've been seeing these signs for a while, and I'm like, man, these signs are up really early. And then I'm like, oh, no, wait. There's elections June 24th. And, yeah, I don't know why. I personally did not vote today because I don't think I had anything to vote on. But, you know, on the way here today, I passed the NAC, the Niagara Arts and Cultural Center, which is the old Niagara Falls High School, on the corner of Pine and Portage. And there were all sorts of signs out front for people to go vote.
Yeah, and then the library as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is voting going on today, but most of it is small local races. Now, that's not to say that small local races don't have an impact, because they certainly do. But nothing, in my opinion, that's super sexy.
Yeah, and I had, like, you know, I was telling you, like, I have no idea, like, about, like, local elections, because you really don't hear anything, like, news-wise or, like, any real sort of campaign or anything like that where, like, we actually get a chance to, like, really understand who this candidate is,
right,
what they're about, or anything like that. It's either you really have to be, like, super in touch with the party themselves or actually know of that person, right, and have conversations with them.
Well, and it's got to be difficult, more difficult for candidates, because, you know, you used to be able to air commercials on television and everybody would see it. Well, now not everybody watches the local television.
Right.
You know, they're watching Netflix, they're watching Hulu. I almost never watch 247, just because there's so many other things going on. You know, I would watch the 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock news if I weren't busy doing other things. But I typically am. And then later at night, I don't want to go back and watch the news. I want to watch, you know, Stranger Things or, you know, Supernatural or whatever. So candidates are largely relying on social media. But then you got the algorithm, which basically...
We're going to shoot more fake stuff.
Well, and it's, you know, the Facebook algorithm, the X algorithm, whatever, it seems to pick and choose what people see.
Right.
So unless you've interacted with this person before, you're not going to see their stuff. Yeah. So it is really difficult to get your word out, I would have to imagine. Well, I mean, I can even just tell you from All Western New York News' point of view. I think we have close to 5,000 followers on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain that like 4,800 of them never see our posts. Just because that's the way the algorithm works. Every year when we do the All Western New York Awards, we get comments that like, oh, I've never heard of you. And it's like, well, we've been here for 20 years. I don't know what to tell you. Or people say, you didn't do a very good job of advertising this. And I have in the past, for All West New York, bought Facebook advertising. It didn't help all that much. So even if you buy into the algorithm, you're not guaranteed anything. Plus, between you and me, I hate feeding Facebook. One, I hate Facebook just because it's a shell of what it once was, and it wasn't that great to begin with. Frankly, I don't understand why we ever abandoned MySpace. MySpace was a lot of fun. That said, so in talking about politics and candidates getting the word out, I saw this ad earlier on Instagram, maybe, and it was this young girl, 25-year-old girl. I don't remember her first name, but her last name was Fox, Foxx, running for Congress in Arizona.
Okay.
And the ad was simply, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm running for office, and it's really expensive. This sign costs this much, this bumper sticker costs this much, this costs this much, this costs this much. Please send me a donation."
Okay.
Now, not going to lie, super cute. So that helps, right? But I don't know if she's a Democrat, a Republican, a conservative, a libertarian, a socialist, a Marxist. I have no idea. She doesn't say. And she didn't say at any point what she stands for either. Now, I probably could have done more due diligence and looked up what she stood for. But the ad was basically, "Hi, I'm cute, send me money." Now, here's the thing. It's going to work because she's cute and people will send her money. But I don't know what she stood for. And it's got to be rough to try to run for office when people don't know who you are or what you stand for, especially when we've got people, who have been in office for 20 years and, oh, that name's familiar, pick that name.
Right.
Or people who are, the sons or nephews of people who have been, in office before. They're like, "Oh, Masiello, I know that name, click." So it's I don't know how to fix it, but
I don't think there is a way to fix it, honestly.
I don't know. Maybe we should just all become Marxist. I do know an actual Marxist, by the way.
Wow.
His name is Kyle. Good guy. Used to rent the office next to us here. And he was there for, a couple of years, I think. It was him and another guy, and they did videos and stuff. And then I ran into him, not physically, but on Facebook. I ran across him on Facebook, and maybe it was some social media. We'll just say Facebook for the sake of the argument. And all his stuff is about straight up Marxism. And I was like, this isn't we never had these conversations when you had your office next to me, because they would be interesting conversations. Straight up Marxism is a bit too much for me. But we're in America, and if you want to be Marxist, apparently you can be Marxist.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just it. But
have you ever thought about what the world would be like if you ran for office?
Yes.
And
I don't know. I never got that far in the dream.
All right, let's change it up. What would the world be like if you were dictator?
I don't know if I would want to be a dictator.
No?
No.
That's what they all say.
But
that's what Caesar said.
Yeah. But no, honestly, though, I don't know if I would want to be a dictator. Because then it's a lot can be pointed at you then, no matter,
Yeah.
But
you got a really cool posse.
Do you though? Because they're all going to want to kill you eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah. So,
but you can have a nice 20-year run.
Who knows? You might have a 2-second run.
It's entirely possible.
Right. So being a dictator, that's a lot of pressure. I don't know. I never really thought about it too much.
All right. Let me rephrase the question. So, are there any laws that either exist or don't exist that if you were in charge, you're sitting on the porch, talking to friends, and they're like, if I was in charge, I would do this. Any laws that you would create?
I don't know if I would create any, but you're familiar with blue laws?
Sure.
A lot of those I would get rid of.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are just ridiculous.
Here's a fun blue law that, to the best of my knowledge, is still in effect in the state of New York. It is illegal to talk to someone on an elevator in the state of New York.
Oh, then I violate that all the time.
I do too. Not that I spend too much time in elevators, because the elevator in this building is scary. And there aren't too many other buildings that I go to where there's an elevator. But when I am in an elevator, I will just talk to random people. And they probably all think that I'm some sort of weirdo. But in the state of New York, last I had checked, it was still on the books. It had not yet been rescinded. It was illegal to talk to someone in an elevator. And I have no idea what... I'm sure there was a reason for it at some point.
Probably not.
You don't think so?
Probably not.
One thing I used to... In my before life, I used to have a running joke with my now ex-wife about like how laws get made. And we were on vacation, and we're going down the New York State Thruway, and we stop at like one of the rest stops, and all the trees have like plaques on them saying what kind of trees they are. Okay. And I'm like, this is because some state senator's wife like stopped at a rest stop and didn't know what trees there were. And is like, there should be a law that the tree should be named. And that is literally how laws become laws. Right. Is because some state senator's wife is like, I don't know what kind of tree this is. So now there's a law that says that you got to say what kind of tree it is.
Which is probably what happened with the whole elevator thing. Right. Somebody was probably having a bad day, didn't want to talk to anybody. Right. And then was like, okay, it should be a law that you can't talk to anybody on an elevator.
Which, I mean, between you and me, is probably not the worst idea to not talk to people on elevators.
So then let's not talk to someone in a car. Let's not talk to someone in an office building. Let's not talk to anybody in a stairwell. Let's not talk to anybody on an escalator.
I'm fine with most of those things. I don't Uber.
I'm just saying, like, where would it end?
I don't Uber much anymore, and I can't tell you the last time I took a taxi. So I don't get driven around much, but I used to on a somewhat regular basis, and I would definitely judge my drivers based on like the degree to which they interacted with me. Here's what I want. I get in the car. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Great. You're going to such and such? Yep. Okay. And that's the end of the conversation. I don't want to know more. I don't want to know their life. I don't want to... Horrible as this might sound, I don't want to know how their day was. Like when I say, how are you? The answer is fine.
I don't mind a little bit of...
a tiny bit. Yeah, but I don't want to talk to you throughout the ride. I'm going to sit there on my phone and play my game. And when I get to the destination, if you have not been a huge pain in my ass, I will give you a decent tip. If you have been a huge pain in my ass, I'll still give you a tip, but, not as good of a tip. And I'm still going to give you 5 stars no matter what. Because...
You just don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't... And I think we had this conversation before. I don't know...
I actually took a Lyft one day, and I actually gave somebody 2 stars.
Really?
Yeah.
How bad do you got to fuck up to get 2 stars?
Okay, so get lost twice.
Sorry.
No leg room.
That's a pain.
And then also, have like a drink and playing with the radio more than you're concentrating on the directions, considering you already got lost twice.
Right. All right, here's points that you can get off. If I get in the car and you've got country music on, well, let me rephrase this. If I get in the car and you leave country music on, that's going to lower your tip. Pretty much any genre of music I am fine with, but Drew is well aware of the fact that I have a maybe unhealthy dislike for country music. I'm sure you remember the time at the casino I yelled at Charlie. I kind of feel bad about it now, but Drew and I were at Seneca Niagara Casino. This is, 3-4 years ago probably, right? Mm-hmm. And there was just country song after country song after and I'm okay with
it was like 7 in a row.
Yeah. I'm okay with the country music songs slipped in here and there.
Right.
But it was country night at the casino, and I might have kind of lost it.
Yeah, it was, and then all of a sudden,
but I still tip Charlie because he's Charlie.
But all of a sudden, it was I think it was you were winning, and then you had your stretch where you weren't, and I was, and then all of a sudden that hit, and then we just both started losing, and it was and then you were like, wait, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. It was I think I asked to I was like, can I talk to Mr. Seneca?
Yeah, can we change this?
Yeah. If I have a customer service issue, I will always ask for Mr. and then whatever the name of the establishment is. Even though I know that there's no Mr. Seneca. Or actually there might be. But anyway, but like there's no Mr. Tops.
Yeah.
There's no Mr. Walgreens.
Yeah, you have this unhealthy obsession with hating country music.
Yeah. There are worse things, I suppose.
That's pretty bad, though.
Yeah. But I think that I had mentioned to you, and again, I don't know whether this was during the show or before or after the show, whatever. But every time I go to the casino lately, and I don't go nearly as much as I used to.
Oh yeah, you were saying somebody keeps on talking to you about their life story.
There's like a sign where it's like, "I'm your new best friend. Please tell me everything." And it's so annoying. I just want to sit there. I want to drink my beer, have a cigarette, and play my game. And instead, like, everybody's like, "Oh, like, you look lonely. Let me talk to you." And it's not like hot girls from Arizona. It's like guys that look like you from Pittsburgh. I think Drew has a headache or something.
Wow, I don't even know where to go with that. Like.
I'm just saying, if it's a hot girl from Arizona who decides she wants to talk to me,
get over it. Dude, get over it.
I'm going to be okay with it.
Get over it. It's never going to happen. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you would be blessed if more people that look like me talk to you.
All right.
On that note.
Screw you. On that note, we're going to take a break. We've got a couple songs coming up. We've got The Times They Are Changin' by Bass Reeves, and we've got Pacifico by the Jazz Conception Project. A little bit of jazz here on All West New York Radio. Again, all 6 of my songs today are songs that are not currently in rotation, but we will get them in rotation shortly. I personally, on this show, like to play songs that are older and from the archives. If you're looking for newer music, of course, we've got new music at 8 every night of the week. And then the Think So Joe show, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Joe's always playing something new. So if you're looking for more new music, listen to Think So Joe, or stick around and listen to new music at 8, coming up at 8 p.m. Here on All West New York Radio, I'm Scott Leffler. He's Drew McGrath, and we'll be right back.